Hi everyone, welcome to Invent Your Mind. Thank you for joining me. My name is Gayani. I'm an intellectual property and business law attorney practicing in California. Just keep in mind this is for informational, educational purposes only. So if you have a specific question, please consult with the attorney that practices in this area where you're at. And so today's discussion is about when you're starting off, how to decide if you need what type of a agreement you need in place. Is it an LLP? Do you need to create an entity like a LLC or corporation? And just to get you started, there is what I do see clients who come to me who have business partnerships and they fall off really quickly, and then it's chaos. So I do think the first question you want to ask yourself is, do you need a business partner, or can this person be a consultant for your company? Because it's easier to work with a consultant than a business partner. If you do want to work with a business partner, I have written an article a while ago about 15 questions or something to think about if you really need that partnership, and I will try to remember to put that information below this video. So the next thing is you want to think about is whether if you don't have an actual agreement in place, a lot of states, what happen is it's called a general partnership if you're doing a business venture. So that's why you do want these agreement in place or create an LLP. Now you could also, if you're launching something and you are pretty sure that right now the revenue is low, it's going to be under 250K or something, then you may want to launch as an LLC, which is basically a pass-through entity where you are working with, you're going to pay your tax when you pay your personal tax. It's not an entity that tax separately. LLC actually is called a limited liability company, but what's really important in creating these is these separate your personal assets from your business. So if you have personal assets, like you have a property, you have a house or some other thing that you want to protect from your business, you do want to have that separation. So you would want at least an LLC, if not a corporation. Now you could create a corporation and you could function as an S corp. Basically, it's similar to LLC in that sense. It's a pass-through entity. But if you create a C corp, then of course the entity itself also have a tax that you had to pay. Now, I don't give tax advice, so I will tell you to seek a tax professional to get specifics on your tax liabilities. But this is from the business side, because I do create these kind of entities. I wanted you to have some idea what you need to think about. So if you create one of these, and also there's benefit corporations. I have a couple of videos on those. So benefit corporation is a corporation you establish. It's not a nonprofit, it's for profit, but it's with the social some kind of a mission in mind. And there are about, I believe last time I checked, at least 28 to 30 some states that allow you to create benefit corporations. California is one of them. There are certain states that still haven't gotten that into their type of entities that you could create under that state law. So other thing that does bring up an important question, because I get this a lot. If you're on the internet looking at this, you might be wondering, well, there's certain information out there saying create this in state X because they don't have a state tax. And I am in a state that heavily tax things, so I really much rather be with state X. Well, the problem with that is you are in state that have these laws, and if you're trying to if you're living there and your business is run through there, you still have that state have you will be held to certain laws of that state. So you need to talk with the attorney who is actually working in this area in your state to understand how does that decision affects you. Because for California, for instance, I would not recommend unless based on some other, of course, this for educational purposes, other factors involved. I would say you want to first think about creating that entity in California, because whether you create it outside of California or here, you're going to be a foreign entity that you need to register with California. So, and if you create it in a different state, you now have basically liabilities in both states. So that's the end of the problem. Like if your company, it's like somebody bring a lawsuit, are you willing to go to that other state to like go through that? And you may have to hire attorneys from, because you are in, let's say home state is California, you will have to know attorney who understand California law, and you will meet an attorney that understand that law of that state. So, so those are some of the things you want to think about when you are looking at this information, because also the people who are writing some of these articles, they might have a limitations on their knowledge on how this apply to certain places, just like I have disclosed, like my knowledge is limited to California law. So I will say this is why it's really important to work with a local professional who works in this, local attorney who's a business attorney in your state, to understand what are those ramifications are, because each state is different. And also area of law that these attorneys practice will matter. Just like I said before, like I don't do tax law, so I will always recommend to my clients to seek tax advice from their tax law professionals. So those are things you want to think about, and how all of this affects you. But also the next really important part in creating a business entity or this kind of agreement is how you practice that, and would you stay within what you have created. So let's say you created an LLC for your business, but you don't do any of the separation of your funds, you're co-mingling your business funds with your personal accounts all the time. Then if you ever get into trouble, that business that is supposed to protect your personal assets will probably not be able to protect you. Because if the attorney on the other side can show there was no real separation, even though you created this entity, then they're able to break that shield that is there. So it's very important that not only you create an entity, but you also understand what you need to do to secure that you are functioning within the protections that are given to that kind of an entity. So those are a few things to think about. I hope this helped you understand a little bit better when you're making these decisions about creating a business, what you need to know. And until next time, if you like this, please like, share, subscribe. There are other videos on different topics for entrepreneurs and startups. I hope that helps you. And thank you for joining me.